We now jump into the next one. A team that was supposed to be undefeated, coming in with the big change in the roster, is going to be Bifrost versus Dusty, a team that also changed a lot of players. And where should we look into this composition? I'll start with Dusty to begin with, because...
You know what, Dusty with Jamada, because he came up with this huge idea, and I was like, wow, I didn't even think about it. Jamada, you're like a connoisseur of like the UK scene, and we have the biggest matchup.
Look at that smile.
So it says a lot about the NLC when I'm now the connoisseur of the UK scene. But yeah, Kerberos, Shikari finally playing against each other once again. It was kind of one of those matchups where, you know, it happened pretty regularly in the old UK scene of old. And now we finally get to relive that here in summer 2022. It's one of the matchups for me where I'm just going to kind of look at and hope that we get Shikari on a carry for a change.
And I'm going to help you on that, by the way. Sorry for interrupting, but let's see who's ahead. In the matchups.
We had 8 and 17.
I got you. We got you here at NLC. So continue.
Yeah, so as you can see, Shikari 17 wins over Kerberos. Kerberos has only taken Shikari down in 8 of the games that they have played. Of course, a grand total of 25 matches. This is a very storied top lane matchup for the UK scene. And as you can see, Kerberos so far has been a much bigger talking point in terms of, you know, damage for Dusty. And I think that's definitely going to be something to track. Shikari traditionally always has been kind of that weak side player, or weaker side player. He has been very capable since he's been on Bifrost and playing those carries, but especially in this version of League of Legends 12-10, we're seeing a lot more agency thrown towards the mid and the bottom side of the map. And hopefully, like I said earlier, we'll see Shikari on the carry, but I expect him to be sort of weak-siding again into Kerberos.
I just think that both players are a joker card for their teams, but in different terms, right? I think Shikari is the joker card in terms of whatever you put this guy on, whether it's weak side, whether it's strong side, whether it's AP, whether it's an enchanter, a tank, a bruiser, an assassin, anything, he will be able to perform on it. You put him on strong side, he will be able to perform on it. Weak side, he will be able to perform on it. On the other hand, Kerberos brings the joker card because of the niche champion pool he brings into the game. And a lot of the times, we've talked about this with Jamada early on as well, when all of these players are bringing their niche picks into the game, like the Cho'Gath, the AD Cho'Gath that you had with the Trinity Force, or the Darius, or the Tryndamere and all that stuff, you need to be able to have a very valuable reply to them, or Kerberos will run you down, and he's proven it.
Outside of the box or inside of the box, let's look into the Champion Select, and we're going to jump into this one. Bifrost versus Dusty, a team that just lost versus Nuriki during Monday, versus Dusty, who lost versus X7, if my mind doesn't run amok. There we go. Diana is going to be the first one to be removed so far. It seems like she lost a little bit of strength coming into this patch, but they're still going to remove her.
I think it's because the AD mid laners, right? They're not that prominent right now, especially since the durability patch came through. All of these mages suffering. A lot of them had to go crown previously to make sure that they stay alive in the mid lane. Now with the durability patch, it's much easier to play your Victors, your Luxes, as we saw from MNS as well. And right here we see, of course, on the right side, Talia. Maybe we'll see something like a Lucian also out of the picture.
Yeah, unless Bifrost knows something we don't, I feel like that Diana ban is a bit of a throwaway, to be honest. We'll see what exactly ends up happening, because again, from my perspective and my sort of knowledge of speaking with a lot of players right now, Diana is just not on anybody's radar. So unless this is just, you know, a prep thing.
It's on Dusty's radar.
It seems to be on Dusty's radar, apparently.
Oh, Lucian open?
Yeah, Lucian is open. I mean, that's a big pick for Odie. Don't be surprised if it gets first picked. Gwen taken off the cards after last game. I think Dusty might have been spectating. But going through some of the old split picks and hovers, I'm still looking towards Lucian. You could also go towards something entirely different.
We've been teased about this.
And yeah, I mean, what are they looking at? This says a lot about Bifrost and how they're looking to potentially play out this game. Because when you're boldly picking Twitch B1, you're saying, okay, we're gonna have this ticking time bomb. Lulu is also still up and available.
Okay, so Yuumi as well.
So there's plenty of things.
I'm just gonna throw a bait out there. What if this is either AP Twitch support that roams the entire map, or what if this is Twitch jungle in the hands of Diamondprox? Diamondprox back in the day used to bring out all of these unconventional jungle picks, but again, this could be, yes, the typical Tom and Jerry bot lane, or this could be something more juicy and it goes to support, like how we can roam the entire map.
But I will say, I do like the immediate response from Dusty to just pick up the Gangplank.
That's your boy.
If Bifrost are going to be looking to play, you know, sort of to ensure that this Twitch is getting resources, then yeah, Gangplank can do a really good job of weak-siding into a tank, which is typically what ends up happening if you have a high-resource bottom lane.
He's a Tom and Jerry.
Can also, of course, bring down the cannon barrage. And yeah, like was called out, it's the Tom and Jerry bottom lane, Twitch Yuumi, really impressive. You go into stealth.
Especially once the paranoia comes down.
Yeah, the paranoia, it's invisibility on top of nearsighted.
Oh, okay, I see you.
To feel horrible. Everyone's getting the shout outs.
Except you.
Arena, except me. It's fine. Someday, someone will figure out the key to my...
You know, it's because he's more of a skilled player and he plays a lot of champions and we're just stuck on the same stuff.
That's also true. You guys are one tricks. Anyway, Senna comes out as a response. And honestly, Senna into Yuumi in particular, because Yuumi typically doesn't have a lot of lane pressure, picks like Senna can come out and honestly kind of just sit there, scale for free herself, and really you can't pressure her too hard unless you have, you know, that sort of stealth pressure where, again, you come in with the ambush and then eventually you've got level 6 that comes in from the Yuumi, and that's when you can really start to look at Senna as a pick option. But for now, second rotation of bans coming in. Azir, I think you're realistically, from Dusty's point of view, just trying to take away as much scaling from Fury's champion pool as possible. And from Bifrost's point of view, you're just, I would imagine, you maybe want to pick on backline right now as well. I think the mid lane pool in general is just going to get really pinched in.
I'm just looking here and I'm like, I'm seeing scaling on the side of Dusty, and on the side of Bifrost, I'm seeing something that I don't necessarily see too much from them, and it's playing a little bit more aggressive, going into stealth, like you mentioned with the Twitch and the Yuumi, having the knockdown. You can put the Yuumi even on the knockdown, diving into the backline. So for me, I'm looking at something for Fury, like the Ari that he's brought out, maybe the LeBlanc, something that can dive together with the Twitch and the knockdown down the deep. Even something like an Akali that could be yet another carry you can put the Yuumi on once one of your carries does die. So usually when you have the cat, you want to have multiple targets you can jump on.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that Dusty recognized that Ari would be a bit of an irritating pick to deal with the champions they have right now. Take that off the cards. I feel like Akali currently would wreck most of Dusty's team composition. Whether or not Fury would be willing to pull it out, because I feel like we haven't seen him on Akali for a little while.
Yeah, Akali player!
Such a strong Akali player. I'm not sure why he doesn't pull it out more frequently. Maybe it's just a feel for how Bifrost are playing at the moment, but Swain will also be taken off the cards. And honestly, I don't blame them. Into something like Yuumi, it's kind of just double scaling. You could also obviously still see Swain move up into the mid lane if the matchup is strong enough. But now this is where Dusty might have to reveal some of their cards in terms of who is going where, whether Senna is going to end up in the bottom hat, in the sort of support role, or whether she's going to end up in the AD role. Zilean doesn't really reveal much because you can still flex the Zilean. And honestly, Zilean, one of the best scaling supports in the game. A lot of people don't really value him too highly. Dusty, one of those teams at the moment. And again, it's a flex pick. It can go into the mid lane, it can go into the bottom lane, but crucially, what does Bifrost composition do really well at the moment? Pick off single targets. What does Zilean do? Deny exactly that. So I think it's such a smart flex pick for them to go for. Bifrost are going to lean, I think, on this Olaf pick again. And honestly, we used to see it sort of when Yuumi came out, Olaf Yuumi, sort of Bruiser Yuumis. So I don't mind this right now because it's going to, in my mind, kind of destroy Gangplank in lane.
Okay, I understand that Zilean is like a great pick when you want to dive the backline, assassinate. Possibly we could see it in a Akali right here. A Sylas would be pretty good as well for a Yuumi to sit on as well, and Fury is a great Sylas. But I'm like, you've got so many targets that want to jump in and kill you, and yes, you're going to res one, but who saves the other one? Do not do this to me, Fury.
He did it.
He did it.
You have to accept.
Honestly, okay.
It's control.
Even though I really love seeing Fury and Akalis and Sylas and Assassins, I think Victor makes so much sense here because again, Nocturne wants to speedrun level 6, and you need to have a priority lane that will come to your aid if you get invaded, for example, by a Viego together with a Zilean potentially or whatever else that you to pick in the mid lane, right? A Viego plus LeBlanc into a Nocturne's jungle pre-6 could spell huge disaster. But if you're able to push in your wave, lock the LeBlanc into the mid, then your Nocturne gets to free from towards level 6.
Second time we've seen LeBlanc today. Didn't quite work the first time. Can we expect the same with this sort of composition? Is this better for LeBlanc?
I mean, I feel like there's a lot easier targets for LeBlanc to try and assassinate. I'm not sure about Bifrost's draft. I think it could potentially be a little bit too out there. I like the creativity, but I think when you look over at Dusty, there's a lot more stability. There's a lot more, things that you can actually look to lean on. There's bridges, early game bridges here. There's late game scaling. Yes, Twitch, Yuumi, Victor. It's an insane triangle of champions to rely on in the late game, but it's about getting there. And I think Dusty have the correct kind of tools and the correct players to shut that down and I expect them to do so. But if they fumble that execution and they allow the Twitch Yuumi to come online, they allow Victor to hit 2 items, that's when I feel like things will come to a bit of a struggle bus situation. And again, I also look towards Nocturne. Caster gets level 6 comfortably, has to come online and has to actually make something happen with those paranoias.
And thus they are coming in with hunger. They want this win versus Bifrost. Bifrost coming in versus a defeat versus Nuriki for 15 minutes of a game. They don't want to win. They don't want to end this week with 2 losses. So let's see what happens as soon as we jump into the Rift alongside with Hipbrain and Nymera.
Thank you very much. Hello and welcome to the Caster Desk as we're getting ready to go into our 3rd game of the day. I think Jamada kind of hit the nail on the head for me for Bifrost. Insane late game carries. When you look at the Twitch, you've got the Yuumi, you've got the Victor. Like those 3 together are just going to absolutely end the game. But are you going to get to that point?
It means you have to have it's the baton pass, right? Where you have Shikari on the Olaf who just mashes face early into the game. It's a lane bully. Now, actually, the last time which I played against an Olaf with a Yuumi, he got 2 pentakills, so maybe it's just sticking out in my mind. But that combo too potentially can solidify one of your lanes to make sure that the others aren't losing too heavily. But only one winning lane against the Viego LeBlanc, which is a strong mid-jungle duo where your Nocturne and Victor really aren't. Shikari needs to do a lot of legwork and needs to have a cat on top of him, start carrying even more into the mid-game, allow these carries to get online.
Alrighty, well, we are into the Rift. Bifrost, they've got tools. It's just, can they execute them? Can they actually get to a position where they use them?
Will Dusty let them?
Will Dusty let them? I mean, Zillion Senna, that bot lane is going to be hard. Is probably the nicest way I'm going to be able to word that. It's going to be a hard lane.
Yeah.
You've also got the LeBlanc into Victor. We saw a lot of this last split as well, actually. I think now it's a little bit nicer for the Victor. It was always an okay matchup for Victor, but it's definitely way nicer because you just have that extra resistances on top of your shielding as well. Yeah. So LeBlanc, definitely Backlund's going to have to play a very good game here to actually effectively control this mid lane. I don't think it's impossible. I really don't think it's an impossible lane. I just think it's definitely a way harder lane for LeBlanc to play in now.
And if you take one bad trade in most LeBlanc lanes, it does become quite difficult because you're looking to trade with your cooldowns and just outburst someone cooldown for cooldown. I was actually wondering, because this is something which Go Rogue did to Bifrost in their EU Masters quarterfinals, that they lost 0-3. You can run down mid with a Q start on Twitch level 1. Actually, what Bifrost tried to do is try to do that through the top side of the map to secure Shikari's lane. We talked about how important that Olaf is in terms of propping up Bifrost until they can fight. Yeah, didn't get anything for it. What they have done is got Shikari standing in that front bush in that top side. And the highway, though, starting with that Q start now, not really going to have the same amount of lane pressure.
This is a top lane, obviously, you know, there's been talks, there's been conversations, people have talked about this top lane, but this is a matchup which is going to be super fun. A lot of nostalgia for me. Back when I started casting, these two were two still, I mean, at the time Curb was, you know, he was such a coin flip player. He was a very inventive player. He pulled out the Warwick top, pulled out like Triforce Cho'Gath into Trundle, permaban Kale against him.
We've seen a bit of that still with like the Darius and the Nasus, but he's
always been a Darius player. Yeah. He's always been a Darius player. I mean, Kerberos, he's a Nasus player, hence the name Kerberos. That's where it comes from. But, you know, Shikari has always been a staple top laner, even back then. And it's been amazing to see, you know, in that time where Kerb's kind of gone from that rookie status and kind of now up there with Shikari as a veteran top laner. Shikari to me, though, is always that wall for his team. That's the thing that makes playing into him so hard, is he just is always so solid, never really a problem. And, you know, it's gonna be a test for Kerberos to prove how far have you come in these last, you know, like 5-6 years.
And I think that's actually mirrors a little bit of Dusty too, and Bifrost, because both of these teams had a big glow up in the last split. You know, the Bifrost had their own Road to Glory video that was on the NLC Social Clash. We had that last week in one of our first days, where they went from 7th place back in their own regional league, and then they come into NLC, and they get that 2nd place, and they get up to EU Masters, they end in quarterfinals, and that's such a big result for this team, that glorious road that they're going on, and looking to potentially carrying on some Kerberos on the cobbles.
Has got the Trial by Fire for a bit of movement speed, gonna flash out as well. Doesn't actually even use that Trial by Fire, needs another axe on the way out, so Lovely gank there by DenVoksne. He might just go for the old loop-de-loop. Nope. Ward goes down, spots it out. DenVoksne going to step away.
What is so cheeky? I mean, we know that DenVoksne will pretty much always early gank if he has an option to. He's been doing that for so many years at this point, and at least at this point, again, you can see that Bifrost are playing towards that top lane, which they know is a lane bully pick. I do think that whenever you have an Enchanter with movement speed and the ability to just unlock Olaf's ability to stick to targets and do damage, he becomes less of an early game only pick, but it doesn't stop him from falling off at some point all the same.
It looks like Linkus actually maybe coming in onto Shikari. Shikari not actually got that ultimate available, and Linkus decides to step away. Hasn't been spotted out by the ward yet, and now going to reveal himself as Shikari. Just going to have to back off. Curb a little bit low on mana, probably doesn't have any barrels charged up and available, so it's quite hard to pull that gank off.
It's kind of like you walk into that lane and you think, haha, that's a low health Olaf. That's someone we can kill. And then you realize, wait, hang on, that's the golden zone. That's where he does damage too. So going into a 2v1, even in that situation, very dangerous to put that pressure towards the Olaf. And actually, DenVoksne said he likes to gank early, trying that again in bot. Exhaust dropped.
Yeah, really nice exhaust here. Odie chasing in. They're looking for the fear onto DenVoksne. They are able to catch him with it, but the flash goes down. And this alleviates some pressure for Bifrost in the bot lane. We were talking at the beginning of the game that you need to see this Victor, you need to see this Twitch get ahead, and well, not get ahead, but just not get completely shut down before they get into late game. Burning the flash and the heal of DenVoksne, very, very big for Bifrost bot lane.
It is, because while you can look at that and say, oh, DenVoksne not quite getting anything in that lane, I'm not sure we expected them to get anything in that lane just on paper. I look at what you can normally do with an early game Nocturne. Not that much. What these lanes are meant to be doing, well, you know, they're stable, but they're not going to achieve that much. But Bifrost managing to keep things very much even for themselves. Dusty with the Viego, maybe they could have aimed for some early ganks themselves, particularly again with that mid-jungle duo. It's one we've seen for a lot of games in this split, but they haven't managed to find anything themselves, and left with a fairly even early game, which I feel benefits Bifrost.
Yeah, I completely agree. Curb got a fairly large wave actually pushing away from him, so he could lose out quite a bit on the farm department, losing a cannon there. Shikari's just zoning him away. Is that grass the undying?
6 goes!
Popped, and Curb, there is nothing you can do. Shikari will run him down as Curb tries to get one last Q, and the tower shot is going to run Shikari a little bit low, but not even remotely close enough. Absolutely just horrible. Horrible for Curb getting taken down there.
Both of these laners are, again, you were talking about, oh, you know, they do some of the unorthodox stuff, but they've always been 1v1 players too. They've loved to take those solo kills in good matchups. And this time, Shikari comes out on top. CS lead, forcing that teleport out, and that flash blown by what is, by all means, an unexpected Nocturne gank, because it was pre-6, ending up getting some very decent rewards later on into the game.
Ooh, Den takes a pretty rough trade there. It's going to get chunked out somewhat, but for now, Odie quite happy with the way the wave is kind of situated. Is now going to kind of equalize out and go into that middle part. Odie not actually got that level 6 available to him yet, and I think once him and Highway hit 6, that's when you get that really horrible combo from Twitch and Yuumi. If you haven't seen it, obviously not something you see very often in high-level play or in professional play, but Yuumi goes invisible with Twitch. She sits on top of him, he slides into your pocket, and then you die.
So, yeah, the key thing about that is that the Yuumi goes invisible, and the Yuumi Q goes invisible. It just pops out of nowhere, and it's like, blam! Loads of slows, loads of damage, and you just get a Dex from that point. I mean,
also, they both have 2 ultimates for shoot in a line. So you get snared, Twitch ult is going to hit you. It's really, really filthy. It's one that obviously you don't see very often because it's unorthodox. There's plenty of ways to shut it down, but if you can make it work, it is a really, really horrible late game scaling duo. We see a lot of this Lulu Kog'Maw because I think it's more reliable, but this also does have Lulu Kog'Maw levels of scaling into later game.
Actually, particularly because it's on blue side, geography will come into effect in some ways in this game. If Dusty tried to ever start a Baron, things could get awkward.
There's Paranoia's off.
That, though. Top lane, Kerberos again. Just
flashless.
Seconds remaining on that flash. Wouldn't have mattered if he hadn't had it at that point, because DenVoksne probably would have still gotten the fear off either way. Kerberos had to blow his oranges, just to blow that even before the flash. It's just too much damage. Not a way for Kerberos to really play around that. And okay, Bifrost playing around that Olaf. We knew that they wanted to get that one ahead. That was going to be there. The baton, which was passed in the mid-game to their other carries, but the Olaf was the early game piece that they were playing around. And with 2 kills and forcing Kerberos down, that's working out quite well.
Odie does have the invisibility. He's going to have to pop it here to try and get away. So everybody's coming in. Cannon Barrage goes down by Kerb as well. So not going to use that for the potential dive, as Odie able to step away. Has got Highway with him, but Highway not level 6 yet, so this dive is a little bit harder to try and pull off. And it's going to be a bunch of plates here for Dusty.
It's the lesser-known Highway away from the danger zone. It's away from the turret. That's not how the song goes, but Twitch Yumi going to survive that ordeal. Kerberos only has 1 ultimate. It's been used on the wave. Manages to clear out a second one, and Kerb has been so unfortunately just he's been the real butt of the joke in this game. It's like, haha, Kerberos dies again. Isn't that fun? But at least
that gives me nostalgia. Haha, Kerberos dies again. I remember saying that quite a lot.
Back in the days when we were playing on 60 FPS, not 144, whatever it was. But oh no, Kerberos actually on the wave again. There's a ghost. There's no ultimate, luckily for him. Still popping it all the same.
Shikari running him down. Kerb gets himself the barrel off, and the trial by fires are stacking up onto Shikari, but the sustain is there, and Kerb holds on this time around. You can see the power of the true damage from the passive, the trial by fire on the GP, actually does a lot to deal with these extra resistances that come in. So part of the reason you do see a bit of a rebirth here on GP, and Kerb may be basing out an overextension from Shikari, but Shikari reading the room, so to speak.
Even though that play is still a ghost for flash trade. Oh, he's going for it.
He is going for it. They're spotting him out, but in comes the backup. They're going to find the snare for the moment. He's trying to keep himself alive. The Heartbreaker comes through heartbreakingly close to save Kerb, but Kerb will go down for a 3rd time, but this time he gets a kill.
But it's not like Kerberos is losing a wave. As you're saying, he gets a kill. That's gold in pocket, which potentially helps that 1v1, which we actually saw is still pretty close if Kerberos plays it out well enough. So that, for me, is a winning trade for Dusty. Getting that gangplank to a place where potentially it's a little more stable, as we've seen that be a breaking point for them. That's important to them.
Yes. All right, this level 6 combo is here for Bifrost. You can see Dusty just put pinks everywhere because they know the moment that Twitch goes invisible, there is a world where they just get killed. Now, Sten does have the ultimate available, is level 8 on this Zillion, so quite a significant experience lead over the counterparts in the bot lane and over DenVoksne as well. So DenVoksne is in the area. Linkus will spot him out, and they might just look for a cheeky pickup here.
Didn't get much for it. Of course, diving into a Victor, not exactly the most enjoyable of situations. And just the thing about the Victor versus LeBlanc matchup, if you're quick enough on your Q finger, get that shield up before the distortion lands, actually gets to bear the brunt of that trade. Fury gets to get that wave clear off. We'll have almost onto their 2nd upgrade now at this point. Doesn't quite have it, but Fury's actually now becoming relevant. So the question is, we said, Bifrost, want to play through that Olaf early, make sure your carries get online later. Are we getting to that point? We're not at that 1 item yet, but they still are even in CS, in mid and bot, or close enough. I think that's actually working pretty well for Bifrost so far.
Then just going for a light trade here. DiamondProx does have the ultimate, but teleport's coming in from Stend, and with that chrono shift available, it makes diving onto this bot lane incredibly hard for DiamondProx. So I expect to see just probably more attention put towards this top side, because it was also talked about, you know, sure, Highway Odie, very, very disgusting combo. But if Odie needs time, you could just go to Shikari for now, because Shikari's pretty strong.
As long as Odie's surviving, as long as one of them is achieving what they want to in lane, and that's either Shikari doing. But okay, Cannon Barrage put down.
Yeah, final chapter as well. Sten actually throws down the bombs. Not going to quite hit. In comes the Paranoia as they're trying to get the damage onto DenVoksne. He has to throw the railgun up for a shield and some survivability as the Chrono Shift is going to get popped. No, it's not. They're actually going to hold it for the moment, and he times it perfectly to steal away the kill as Linkus steals the form. Highway caught out, and his heart is broken. Backlund finds himself a double kill.
Hey, so Bifrost caught in that Dragon Pit, not given that option to escape. And while you were talking earlier, yeah, the Twitch and the Yumiels, they happen in a straight line. What happens if there are multiple lines of attack? Backlund gets that jump forward. Now Shikari left alone on that top side, but the real story of this is Dusty finding a lot of kills in a point of the game where they are still very strong at this point. Those double bombs actually do a lot of work to stop Odie getting a safe retreat. Same with the cannon barrage in the same kind of way. It's not the best cannon barrage in terms of damage, but it still just locks off certain areas of the map for Bifrost to make their retreat. And of course, the Zillion ult coming in second.
Yeah,
that really works well to just buy time.
I mean, that was almost like a pixel-perfect kill there by DenVoksne, though, to make sure that
Timing was good.
the Chrono Shift doesn't go off and just revive DenVoksne. Really, really nice stuff from DenVoksne, even if they lost that fight. Just understanding, and, you know, you expect that from a player who's been playing this long. Just played that cool-headedly, didn't try early, timed it absolutely beautifully, and was able to deny and at least pick something up in response. Bifrost as well did secure that dragon, so we are tied on the dragons. It's going to be a Cloud Soul this game,
okay.
So will be interesting to see exactly how that's going to affect, you know, the state of play in this game.
So, obviously, when I look at dragons, I look at well, there are the two big things, right? Because you've got the soul itself. I think Cloud Soul in this game, when you're looking at a number of champions which want to run at you with a Yuumi attached to them, on both sides, that helps you either achieve that or kind of nullify it a little bit. I think Cloud Soul does have decent value this time as Kerberos. Not sure he's going to have much of a chance to run away from this one.
He's about to get flash. He's close to flash, but he's not close enough, as here it comes. Barrel's going to get popped, trial by fire, trying to get a little bit more additional damage off, but Shikari on a killing spree.
And Kerberos dies.
And Kerberos, haha, dies. An old classic.
Tale as old as time. The cross map, though, coming in. Linkus does have that ult. Remember, it is execute damage on that Viego ultimate. Odie not at all safe here.
Oh, that was an awfully positioned final chapter, and Odie will lose his life. Highway on his lonesome as well. Rooted, popped by the bomb, and Linkus will set it off. Linkus, you want a kitty cat? Oh, he wants a kitty cat.
That's his payment. He's paid in snacks for his
oh no
cross maps.
They can have a Yuumi too. We didn't think about this. Not as impactful as at the final chapter, but they can have a Yuumi too, Namira.
It's not quite the same thing as having it at the start of the fight. So the problem with the Yuumi is that you have to kill the most fed person on the enemy team to most likely get that Yuumi. And that's always going to be a roadblock of, wow, you need to kill like a really fed Olaf or a really fed someone else to get to them.
Also, why don't you just take the form of the person you kill instead of the Yuumi? But they have a Yuumi. Keep that in mind. Anyway, honestly, just a misstep by Bifrost.
I'd actually
not really
never
paying
thought of that
respect.
before, Food for thought. Food for thought. Doesn't just pick it up now. I would kind of want to see it just for the novelty value.
Yeah. Linkus, it is your turn to play the Enchanter. Okay. Okay, honey.
Honey, it's game 3. Time to pick up your Enchanter. I mean, no one's picked Lulu today. That's the big change, right? We haven't had as many Lulus. We've had other Enchanters coming out, and you know, I've seen the Yuumi a couple of times cropping up. Seems to be very strong on this patch. We were kind of aware that Enchanters were going to make their return. Whether that was welcome or not depends entirely on the person who's thinking of it. I myself enjoyed a bit of high engage action, trying to get those bursty kills, but the Enchanters do allow you to play around so many of these disengaged fights like we're seeing here.
Oh, look at the railgun. The cannon barrage is there. Diamond Proc's running away. He's got Highway. He's got the kitty cat in his pocket as Odie coming forward. Is now going to pop the spray and pray. I swear I can talk, but it doesn't matter because nobody dies.
Nobody dies again, and part of that is due to what we were just mentioning. Those Enchanters, again, one of the hallmarks of 12-10. Hard to kill people. Your health HP means more because you've got more resist and more HP. Those shields and ability to use that HP to its fullest extent comes in very, very valuable against these diving bursty champions like that Nocturne, like the Viego.
Definitely been a slower day. I kind of said this after last game. I directly said it. It feels like day 1 of this patch was teams figuring out, you know, what works, what doesn't work, what they
had
think
like
is
2
strong.
Springboks to work with, max.
Yeah, we had some very, very fast games. Then obviously the rest of the ERLs have now played, so you've had a chance to watch other ERLs, see what they do, extra couple of days to scrim and kind of get your head around it. And it feels like teams are starting to figure it out, and it's definitely a slower pace. I'm glad to see that the Azir was banned. I find Azir unfun to watch. I think, you know, it makes too much zone control, and teams are just too scared to walk into the Azir because you'd be stupid to walk into the Azir.
I think with the departure of Leon and Nautilus and stuff like the Alistair too, you know, these picks that were starting to pick up a lot of steam around your MSI, there aren't really that many ways to pick off people in terms of in the lead up to fights. We were seeing, we see a little bit of LeBlanc. We saw it kind of from the Lux last time. I was like, when you're approaching a fight, sometimes you can get people on the build up to it, but it's not really the same. So when you get to these grouped up fights, there's chances just absolutely reign supreme.
Oh, there's going to be a cheeky bomb onto a couple of members, but doesn't really do too much damage. Everfrost finished up onto Stend, building towards their next item. As looks like this fight for the Rift Herald area is kind of pointless because the Rift Herald's about to time out in DenVoksne's pocket. I swear I pay attention. I swear I pay attention.
Shelly and Shirley have been evicted. It's Baron's home now. Coming back for the summer. Migrated back towards the north of the Rift. And this is where, again, we have to check in on, okay, early game versus late game. Olaf is a lane bully, did get 3 kills out of that. That's all well and good. But what actually happens when now the Olaf is not in their the Ascendancy, is not in their real preferred point of that game? Who do you hand that over to? I think now you're looking at Fury building up towards the second item. Odie on that too. They need to do a lot of work because you're looking at Backlund, who's got their sights zeroing in on them. Really want to snap up some kills.
They are looking for Shikari here, but they didn't realize DenVoksne was in the area. Neither did Bifrost realize, but DenVoksne had also roamed over to make sure that this tower doesn't go down. Curb able to hold fast here. Den just going to be able to pick up a bunch of souls for himself, and tower survives. It's low though. It's chunked.
It's
so
low.
Shikari can go get that, get a bit of gold, as Fury has to be careful. Backland has obviously got those 2 kills in the pocket. So,
how's Magi?
is it still a Magi's patch? Because I don't feel like there's enough kills to justify a Magi.
This is the thing. Like, you're absolutely right, because the logic is there's no kills, so I can't lose stacks. But then the other side of that logic is, well, yeah, no one's dying, so you're not getting any either.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. I mean, we saw Eminez try it in the last game on the Lux. I think that Magi's is a good item anyway. I think that one of the failing points in Pro, at least for Magi's, was you try and side lane with the Magi's and people would send 5 people to your lane. That was the one thing which was a bit unavoidable. It's like, actually, that death isn't just, you know, a 700 gold shutdown or whatever. It's also a lot of gold worth of stats coming out of those stacks being lost too. That's less likely to happen. It's less of a risk, less of a reward. And I think that's kind of brought it back into the public conscious, even though you should have been building it all along, potentially. Kerberos, well, again, looks like we're going back to this old playbook.
Oh,
this has been spotted on vision, so I don't know. That's some really good trades by Kerberos. Again,
he has
ult coming in.
Ooh, Shikari takes an extra tower shot as well. Ult available to Curb, flash available to Curb. Yeah, you got the Yuumi and the Nocturne, but it is quite hard as Backland able to use this time effectively while 3 people show bot side to take a tower. It's a bit more gold injected into Dusty, and what is a very tight game as far as the gold's going is slowly but surely starting to grow somewhat. Now, Shikari does answer out on the bottom side of the map. Obviously, Kerberos recognizing that I'd rather not have to burn my my flash to be able to survive anything. But big thing to note, Curb now level 13, so maxed out those barrels, so we'll have them on the shortest cooldown. Obviously, you get 5 barrels as well stacked up there. So pretty happy with that one. Stend, level 12, got the Zhonya's Hourglass finished up for themselves as well. And we're going to see Backland go back to base and actually get himself a Hextech Alternator, which they then sell and then rebuy.
So they sell, they rebuy it, they sell it again. And what we're seeing, I think, from all 3 of these lanes, because you mentioned about the Zhonya's been built up, you mentioned about you know, the maximum amount of barrels, is that you're pretty much always going to have barrels on GP to respond to a play, going towards what looks like a Death Dance as well, with the items coming in second there too. It's just really hard to get efficient dives off. And we saw even, again, in the other games we've seen on this patch, dives are just hard to orchestrate in general on this patch. Yeah, you've got Zhonya's, when you've got this again, diving into barrels, makes it all the harder. Just makes Dusty more than happy to play out this game a little more slowly, incrementally building their gold leaders again, you mentioned. And this is now going to be a game where we're going to see Bifrost once again in the late game. Now, we've often talked about Bifrost as a team that somehow gets to the late game, even if they shouldn't, whether that's them throwing an early game lead or overcoming an early game deficit. Might have to overcome that again if it comes around to a fight here, but nope, not going to explode just yet around the dragon.
Curb missed the barrel chain, and unfortunately that means Dusty are going to back away for now, but they do have pretty good vision. Backland, though, on that flank, as there's a barrel coming in from Curb. Able to get a nice amount of damage off there, just trying to control this vision around the bush area. And Backland continues to trying to zone out onto DenVoksne, gets a lovely chunk of damage off there. As the gravity field is going to catch onto Curb, but Curb can quickly just cleanse it, make sure this tower doesn't go down. And that is Dragon number 3 over to Dusty.
We did say that Cloud Soul has some utility in this game. It's also not game-ending. We're probably strapping in for the late game again, looking towards Elder, looking towards maybe a Baron flip at some point. But honestly, with the way these teams have been playing, we've seen, I'm not going to say a death of the Baron flip, but it's definitely not as prevalent as it was last patch, where it felt like, right, even if we turn off this Baron, we're going to get a good chance of getting kills. Because again, it's just harder to kill people. Feels like your turn potential on Baron has meant that people don't want to flip on that objective as much either.
I miss doing damage, Namira. I miss doing damage.
As we are both brethren in AP Assassins, our LeBlanc players on the cast, and I miss it a bit myself.
Luckily, my second go-to is GP, so there is a slight area of like, okay, at least I got something.
Do you know what my second go-to is? I've ever told you.
No.
It's Quinn, but Quinn mid.
I'm a GP mid main, so I can't say anything either.
See, in top lane,
Blanc and GP, that's it for me.
I was, you know, I had to overcome my one-trick syndrome a little bit over time by playing many ARAMs, being forced to play different champions. But I'm now at a comfortable point where I'm happy playing some just weird picks every now and then. Go, yeah, you don't know how to play into this champion. I'll see if I can beat you with it.
How does the Quinn mid work? I assume it's just roaming, right?
Well, it works really well into stuff like, so if you're into, say, some of the little Blanc, you can cancel the W level 1.
Yeah, that's
like
really
Lux or
horrible.
Syndra, if they place their skill shots wrong at level 1, you take like one press the attack trade, and then it's actually quite easy for a little bit. You survive up until you're level 6, and then you just leave lane and you go elsewhere.
You know what's actually a champion I think you... I don't think we'll see a return of, but an interesting one, but could be used now to counter.
This is your elevator pitch. Come on, you got a bit of time before the next play happens. We're actually
a while back. Hold on,
no,
I have to hold this. Curb! I was trying to describe stuff as he is in a whole world of hurt. Shikari will stick to him like glue, and Kerberos goes down for a 5th time this game.
Now, I thought that A Whole New World only played once in the Aladdin movie. These have actually been shown it 5 times, just being shown a horrible new existence by the top side of the map, flip down to the bomb side from Bifrost. They are very content to stop Kerberos from playing League of Legends.
Okay, so back to my point.
Go on.
Way back in the day, a long time ago, Faker used to actually pick Karthus into LeBlanc.
Yes,
and I think with the damage resistances, all the extra resistances, it actually might be viable again. Might have to hold that because Odie being hunted down and Backland looking to run him down. They actually find Diamond Prox. He is below. The chains go wide. So he survives, but Linkus is going to run him down and take away the kill. He's got a form to steal out if he needs to as well. And Odie, he's just out of there. He doesn't want anything to do with that.
Even with that, we've had one kill traded back and forth. One in the side lane, one in an opportunistic pick from Dusty.
Backland.
Fine back in, but again, it's not led to enough to get to a Baron advantage. We're looking at this, even with junglers going down, it feels like so hard to take these kills and make explosive. Again, it's like large leads. It's not the game-breaking leads. Getting one kill, it's not giving you enough to really take the next step and take over a game.
Curb actually been found out here by Shikari, puts the barrel down, going to get himself run onto. Oh, Curb, you've got the flash, you've got a teammate coming, but can he survive in time? It looks like he can. Able to get an extra Q in, and Backline looking to chase in with the double sigil. The shield from the rework Olaf will not save him today. Kerberos gets a shutdown.
Gets to disengage the play, and this Olaf is the lane bully pick. Rules the early game, but has to transition out of that somewhere. And this isn't a Yuumi attached to him. This isn't the uber healing, uber move speed Olaf in that combo. It's just them stuck alone, and they're not achieving enough. You're really starting to look at these other champions yet again, as we have been the whole game. Every couple of minutes, just keeping an eye on those items, keeping an eye on the scoreboard, and saying, when is actually someone gonna take over from this Olaf? Because it feels like it really is Backland stacking up that Magi, getting multiple items, and the rest of Dusty starting to find themselves in a very comfortable position.
This is the slowest stacking of that book ever.
It's
like 5e Wizards.
a real page turner.
slowly getting through it.
Maybe it's one of those, maybe it's, if you remember back to doing like English studies or a language study, we have to go through the book and you have to annotate it and like, this is a word which I really like, and underline it a couple of times. It's, you have to really make your way through that book. And
I mean, there's only 8 pages, so it's more like a coloring book. Just slowly saving it.
The Viego goes Q.
I can't wait to paint the tiger.
See what riveting content we've got for us in this river. got ourselves some bombs in the form of clocks being thrown out by Sten. Backlund trying to spice things up, and
Shikari's coming in! Here it is, the Yumi's on. They're going to have to use the ultimate onto one. Stopwatch instantly comes in as well. The flash goes out, and in comes Diamond Proc. Sten will go down. Backlund should be quick to follow as well. Linkers is trying to turn it around as much as possible. The chains do connect and lock Shikari in place, but Backlund and DenVoksne are on the run. Curb is behind everybody though, and Diamond Proc is a little bit low. Odie on the hunt. DenVoksne coming in. It's only one member who's gone down. Dusty might still be feeling this. They might still be vibing the fight as Odie is still remaining to chase Backlund. Backlund's able to get away, and the dragon will finally fall. Dusty don't want to flip it. It's not worth. It's just a Cloud Drake.
It's only 1 kill, and we don't even get a soul. It's, again, not game-breaking. It's nothing that's going to decide the game. We're left in maybe still a Dusty-sided status quo, even though Bifrost win themselves the largest scale of that fight, but it's not nearly enough to tip the scales into what should be game ending. I like what Shikari did here. Again, finally comes up with a Yumi. That's what we've been talking about a lot this game. Takes the ult away from the Zilean, then switches targets to make sure he's still getting value out of the damage that he's doing. The Olaf, though, it's not a Gwen. It's not a Gwen that's going to instantly evaporate someone, be able to run forward and do so much more into that late game. The Olaf feels like a bit of a Gwen light. It's not nearly as effective as we saw one of those can be on this patch last game.
Oh my lord. Right, 30 minutes in.
Yep. What else you got on
Neither team's got double digits in the kill.
What else have we got down? Scripted downtime content.
Shrimps live for 6. Oh, I've already done that one.
Oh, hold on. Okay, well, we've already pulled through that one. We've done our newscaster voices. That one was interesting experience. And we're left with...
Actually, here's a good one.
Okay, go on then.
I come up with be part of this. Oh yeah, do that as well. But this is a separate thing. I come up with newscaster names.
Yes.
For it. Today was Big Mango. Monday I was Attaboy Bum Chops.
Do you have any particular inspiration for them, or are you outsourcing your inspiration now?
So Attaboy Bum Chops actually came from my mate, it's his Discord name.
Right.
But he got it from a Warhammer 40k orc name generator. And I was like, that's such a good name. It's such a good name. But if you've got any really good names, like Big Mango, Attaboy Bum Chops, anything like that, hook me up on Twitter, and next time I'm back on the show, in a couple of weeks' time, I'll use your name.
You're crowdsourcing creativity. That's what you're doing.
Well, you know, I'm also crowdsourcing fun. Resurrection! Resurrection's coming in from the chrono shift. We filled the time, and Bifrost are ready for the action. The cannon barrage is doing a lot of work there, but Odie's already able to find a kill. Backlund chasing onto Fury. Fury is going to go down to Backlund. More books, more pages, as Shikari not going to eat the barrel. Backlund looking for the chains on Shikari, but not going to hit it. We're working towards the Harry Potter novel. That Medjay is getting bigger and bigger.
Waiting for your invitation to someplace a little more magical than this, a little more ability, power, and Backlund. Can he get some more? He sees them.
He's got the chains to all diamonds, has to stopwatch Odie though with a Kraken Slayer. Able to do a whole lot of damage in response, and Shikari not going to go forward. He hasn't got the Ragnarok, but he does have a kitty cat.
It's the kitty cat, but even with that, it's good damage, it's good target access for Olaf, who typically struggles with that. This is about as good as an option as you can get. So he did end up submarining that way forward, but it ends with, again, huge amounts of disengage. You've got Chaos Storm on one side controlling that short-range fight. You've got Cannon Barrage and Zillion abilities on the other side, snarling up this no man's land between the front lines, and it makes it so hard to follow on beyond just that first pick. Now, Dusty, they've fallen prey to the Twitch. Again, that submarine a couple of times, but now they've gotten a little bit of lane vision. Got those wards just on the intro and the entry to various areas they want to be walking down and securing that wave push in, and it'll make it a little harder for Bifrost to find an opening like that again. And even with that opening, which was probably one of their better ones, it's still an even fight. It doesn't even, again, end up in something that's going to change the story of this game all too much. And speaking of the stories, I guess we should probably go chat a little bit about these teams again, because again, these are two teams that have climbed up into relevancy in the NLC. They have been teams that haven't always been up there. Dusty, a name which has been around a little longer than Bifrost in terms of NLC history, but Bifrost now coming in a second place from Spring. Real glow up from this team. And Dusty were there just behind them. Bifrost downed Dusty in that 3-0 to get to those finals. The match from this last... Wow, Twitch damage, couple of autos. It's not a kill, it doesn't lead to anything, but these teams, it's I'd say a tense confrontation, but the tension's a little bit lacking. It's a confrontation. They're staring at each other. I'm sure there's tension on that
Anything
one,
but tense is the slack on their hammocks. They're lying, looking at each other across the rift, but looks like it's time to get up and out of your hammock as the paranoia comes in and everyone goes,
Again, it's
just do with another mojito, actually.
Again, Dusty, they've seen this happen so many times, like, yeah, okay, well, got ourselves a dragon spawning. Maybe that'll force the issue a little bit more, but again, these cooldowns not going to be as prevalent in this fight. Don't have that final chapter from Highway on that. Yuumi have to be playing around that Chaos Storm and
Backlund
Spray and Pray.
on that flank, that's the big thing. Diamond Proc's going to get chunked out already.
Oh,
OD! Cannon Barrage comes down, Backline actually jumps back in. They got the barrels coming in from Curb, not going to quite hit. Does get a nice little drift off onto the two members in the back as Backline looks for a bit more damage onto Shikari. More barrels coming down from Curb. Soul is secured for the side of Dusty. A patch ago and Odie would be looking at a grey screen right now.
So you would, and it was very close even with that. And again, you can talk about, burst damage kind of falling out from the game. It's more about your consistent damage, your scaling mages. With again, those pages being stacked up to 12 now. Backland on the LeBlanc, just showing that they're relevant, showing that they can be that X factor in this game. They've tried to have Bifrost with their Twitch to be that. Again, the game changer. Backland really hits home with a solid chunk of damage around that objective.
Well, looks like the Baron is on the card here for these teams as Backland can take a little bit of damage, but not too much. And vision control being fought out aplenty between both of these two teams. Instead, just going to try and get some level of a shove in this bottom side, but Odie able to quickly answer out himself as Backland needs to be very careful. Shikari level 17, got Ghost, got a Kitty Cat as well. So could be a problem. You don't want to be incapacitated. That's right.
Okay, I didn't really come here prep with that. You know, I used to come into cast prep for puns when it was a slower meta. I used to do that. Used to give me more content. I'm not prepared for this one.
I'm never prepared.
I'll have
That's
to
my secret.
Pause for thought. Is that too basic? Could I get away with that one?
Yeah.
Cool, good. Glad I've got your seal of approval. That's all I'm really here for, you know.
Exactly. I mean, that's why everyone on the show is here.
Well, we're also here to watch some League of Legends, but as we said...
I'm here to wind Jamada up, I'm going to be honest with you. That's why I come. Man, when his eyes roll and he lets out that big sigh,
you know you got him.
Euphoria washes over me. Absolutely wonderful. Dusty, probably feeling a little bit quite happy themselves right now as well. Into the Baron pit.
One of these points where Bifrost can fight. Again, being trapped in that pit on red side, kind of dangerous just because of the geometry, the geography of the map, because if you let that Twitch open up and fire, things get really, really dangerous. But Dusty, they recognize that. They go, no. We will. So, you know when someone chooses, the memes like wake up and choose violence? No one is choosing violence.
I mean, they're trying the violence, but the violence won't stick. Linkus is on the flank. And it's like that. It's like the training dummy.
Yeah.
It's like the training dummy in Super Smash Bros. They're just hitting it and it won't go down.
Like sticks and stones may break my bones, but champions will never kill me. That's 12.10. There we go. Back to the Baron, I guess.
36 minutes, almost 37 minutes, and no team is on the double digits as Backland's going to try his hardest to do so, but Odie barely gets tickled as here comes Diamond Prox. They might be looking for the action. Can he pull that paranoia off? No, he can't. Pain is all I feel, but Backland is trying to get some pain out himself, but he can't do any damage.
To feel pain, you need to be able to take damage, and it's just apathy.
It's emotional damage.
I'm having an existential crisis. It's like, I think, therefore I am not. No, God. Starting to slip deeper and deeper into just the well of the void.
When I started casting, we used to have chairs at the standing desks.
I would like
because the games used to go for like 45 minutes and we needed them.
Oh, God.
Oh boy.
The thing is though, like, okay, I get triage why this has happened. It's effectively Dusty figuring out the play patterns which Bifrost do have and then saying, no thanks. They've sat there and say, we can die on side lanes. I'm not going to go to a side lane anymore. The Olaf has gone to the side lane as well and gone, oh no, if they actually turn up, then I will have to group. And then when everyone has grouped up, Dusty got picked off like once or twice by that Yuumi ultimate, and then they've played Wisewood ever since. They've just nullified everything that Bifrost want to do. And while all this is happening, I guess the real, because I guess that's the result of it. I think honestly, the most interesting thing, if you're watching this from a more analytical standpoint, is actually what's happening with the vision control to allow this to happen.
Yeah.
That's the bit where I'm actually sitting there going, okay, actually, that's pretty high level. It's not the most entertaining thing ever.
Yeah, no.
There's like, if you're always on wards, this is how you stop people playing through the win conditions. And that's kind of intelligent in its own way.
I mean, don't mistake us memeing on it for them being bad. This is not bad gameplay. This is Dusty having a very, very good read on Bifrost and understanding the conditions around them. Bifrost understand how they need to win this, but it's the lights go out and they run across the bedroom to get away from the demon. That's literally what Dusty do every time. Get into bed as quick as possible so it can't grab you.
It's funny you mentioned like the demon, because that's normally a thing about sleep paralysis, and sleep seems to be relevant to this game. Just a little bit going snoozy. Oh, it's the side lanes, the one thing they can lose on.
Curb, he's been caught, but he's got the Guardian Angel. He's got everything available to him, but they're taking so much damage. The cannon barrage is coming in. Oh, Diamond Brock's actually going very, very low, but he's got his own GA. He's got a kitty cat in the pocket. The railgun's going to come down, and he's almost able to pop the GA. No, he can't. Diamond Prox finds the kill. Dusty have to do the Baron, though. They have to get their opportunity. Shikari has to pop the ultimate, and there it goes. 3 members of Bifrost go bot lane, and they are punished on the map for it. As Linkus needs to find his way out of the pit. Should be able to do so.
And that's just way too heavy a commitment on bot side. If you can commit 2 people, and that doesn't include your Twitch Yuumi, I think that can work out. Because again, we said red side doing Baron against Twitch Yuumi. Hell, even against the Victor, as long as one of them is there, you can kind of justify that, say, we can turn onto the Baron, maybe win on both sides of the map. It does feel like Bifrost commit too heavily towards bot side. Yeah, you get a GA. Yeah, you get the kill. Well, you have to use summoners. You lose that Baron. What's your actual win here? Because you get the Baron buff in time to actually contest this Elder now from Dusty.
Oh, backline, that was an ult, and in comes the paranoia. He's burning low, but he's got the resurrection on him if they need it. He's able to shift away, but backline's had to use everything. He's got teleports so he can get back into the action, but Fury already starting up the dragon. Then DenVoksne get a little bit of damage off. In comes the teleport. Curve's coming back as well. Same with backline. They've got the cannon barrage up in a second. If Dusty can hold on, this could be their opportunity, but backline has to be super careful. He's used a lot.
Let's watch Backland again. He's on the flank, doesn't have the flash, but has cooldowns. There's Shikari.
Shikari's absolutely running in. He's got the ghost. He's speeding towards them, but he's speeding towards his demise as he has to run away. Dragon reset. It goes in, it goes out. Fury has to stop. Watch, he's chunked. DenVoksne looks to catch him, but the flash comes out, and it's not going to happen. Dragon is still outputting damage to both teams as Backland comes in for a flank. Tries to find some damage. The bombs are on the ground, so the wrong cooldown as DenVoksne. It's his turn to step up. Curb still got the barrels to work with. Dragon
another paranoia. Let's go.
Paranoia comes in. Everybody jumps in. Look at Odie! He's ripping through everyone! 1 shutdown! Another kill picked up as well. They are finally finding their damage. They're finally finding their moment. Shutdown after shutdown after shutdown is picked up by Bifrost. They're teleporting in. They're looking to close this game out.
It is classic Bifrost, baby. They somehow make it a late game. Should they be there? Who the heck knows? But when they're there, they make it a show in the team fights. They finally get themselves the final nail in Dusty's coffin.
Railgun's coming down, but it's DenVoksne on his lonesome. Nobody up for 30 seconds time. He's trying to kill Fury, but he's being run down by Odie. The towers are going to fall. DenVoksne can't go anywhere but to the grey screen or to his jungle. Nexus exposed. Bifrost did it with double digits. 42 minutes on the clock. And they're going to take their 3rd win here. Nymira, that was I'm not going to say a roller coaster.
No,
it was a leisurely train ride around the theme park.
That was Mr. Bones' wild ride, which we wanted off. And thankfully, Bifrost finally delivered on that. Now, are we going to sit here and say, oh, this was awful gameplay? No, it's not. This was just the nature of the compositions and they played out. I think Dusty actually, for the majority of that game, played very well around vision. They played very well around denying the win conditions which Bifrost had in terms of killing that side lane, in terms of getting those sneak attacks on mid. It's just that one slip up. It was Backland on that LeBlanc, jumping through, trying to go forwards. and going straight into Twitch damage. Twitch became the assassin in the late game.
It's one of those things that, you know, we haven't seen for a while, but when these games do get that late, you do get to a point where death timers are massive,
One
and
mistake
one mistake
can solve
loses you the game. Backline had to ult, had to flash, and then was completely useless.
So we saw that on Monday with the Cog Lulu as well,
Yeah.
with that Riddle game where they were sat there. If the Cog Lulu lives, the game is still in effect. And it was similar in this game. Sometimes these key members, one misstep, one time they think, oh, I can go for it, and they get punished, and that's game.
That was game indeed, and what a game it was. We're going to pass it over to Archerum and the rest of the gang to break that down. So over to you guys.
Bifrost can't keep getting away with this. Ra-ta-ta-ta-ta. There you go. 40 minutes plus on another game after the game they had versus Noriki. They take down Dusty. It was messy, it was long, there's a lot to talk about.
I don't know where we're even gonna grab this game from.
Top
because
lane.
It's top lane, like Shikari, like styled on Kerberos. I'm sorry, Kerb, you're great, but I think Shikari put what, the 18th win?
Yeah,
in the matchup?
It's kind of like, right, Shikari somehow was like omnipotently watching the broadcast, saw the head-to-head stat and was like...
It's the question mark thing where it's like,
I don't like
team?
this, yeah.
I've like solo killed this guy 3 times. Team, what are you doing in the bot side of the map?
He goes into it though and he's like, I'm just going to smash this guy. I just saw the head-to-head. I'm going to make it a little bit larger.
We have Flash, I have Ghost, I have 2 axes. Good luck.
Okay, so I'm a little bit mind blown by Bifrost because we were talking about this in the green room as well. And we're like, Bifrost are having very happy drafts. And I feel like Odie is getting very short range AD carries, starting with the Lucian in the previous game, now going with the Twitch. I don't think he had a lot of luck finding these huge openings for the ultimate, for the Yuumi and Twitch to come into fruition, right? And I felt like a lot of their team fights were just so difficult to execute because the Rat would just not find an opening for the team fight. And then shall I take it from the other side, where Backlund gets his LeBlanc yet again, and he literally runs everyone over.
Yeah, no, Barkland really needs to stop being given, needs to just not get his hands on a Blanc, like, anymore. Even, like, yeah, sure, Dusty lost this game, but I feel like Barkland is just another beast on this champion. And yeah, I totally agree. Like, Twitch, he's not a long-range champion when his R's off. And quite frankly, I mean, I think that was the only time we actually saw OD get a big ultimate.
Yeah, exactly.
It won them the game. But that is the power of Twitch Yuumi. It's kind of why we saw this draft come into effect. We was looking at Olaf probably running the mid game, being the bridge in the mid game. It came to fruition a couple of times. Olaf did come down and start to run the team fights, but again, Dusty were just navigating those team fights around the Olaf Yuumi combination so well, and also I suppose just tracking the Twitch well enough so that he could never actually open up until 40 minutes into the game.
It's a good way to end the week for Bifrost. They lose on Monday, but they recover on Wednesday. And I get the pleasure to talk with Negative, the coach coming in from Bifrost. There we go. Hello, welcome to the show.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear it. That was a long one. That is, we have a lot to talk about this game. How are you doing before everything?
Oh, I'm fine, but the last week was pretty rough. It was like moving a lot of stuff, and we have like a lot of work with team. Like we have like insane amount of discussions, insane amount of meetings. Like I'm really hyped with this roster, with the way how basically the work process goes. Like we are really like having like a lot of future. I would say, like, I'm pretty sure. So yeah.
But looking into this team and the way things are going, especially with this patch, even before the patch, Bifrost was a team that needed at least 30 minutes to be online. Now, with the durability patch, we're looking into 50 minutes. I'm going to ask you, are we going to reach the 3-digit timer with Bifrost? What is happening right now with Bifrost in terms of preparing with this patch?
Oh, like for now, the new patch is like gives us more questions than answers. So we're like trying some stuff, looking for some stuff. There are like the thing is that's like in current meta there are like less champions with CC, and like it's really like changes the drafts, like, and the view like overall on the game, like the jungle champion pool, like the jungle meta like changed a lot. Like the new champs came up, like, and they are like kind of different play style, you know, like before it was like ganking junglers like Lee, Xin, like whatever song, and now there are a lot of like power farmers like Lilia and stuff, and yeah, basically there is a lot of things. And
okay, more questions than answers.
sure.
Yeah. Trouble, you wanted to make
I have
a question?
another
Yeah.
question
Yeah,
along with
I have
all the
another one as
questions
well.
from the new patch. I want you to talk to me a little bit about what's happening down in the bot lane, because Audi Duel was like a legendary bot lane that we had over in the NLC, arguably probably like the best one that we had last split as well. Now Highway coming in. Talk to me a little bit about how these two guys are like chatting together, communicating, the things they want to play, because we've seen like Tom and Jerry down the bot lane, that we saw Lucian suddenly.
Like for now, like for sure, like how do I say that? Like they are getting used to each other, because we didn't have a lot of time of preparation before the split starts, and like for now we are feeling like insanely like confident, like especially on bot lane. But we need time to show up. Like overall as a team, like as a bot lane, like we need to build a synergy, like a better synergy and stuff. So yeah, I will make this like a bit short answer. Okay.
Thank you so much for your answer. And also, that dog is absolutely adorable.
Yeah, that's my question now. I want to know the name of the doggo. Before we wrap it up, what's the name of the doggo?
It's Johnny. I also have 2 cats.
2 cats as well? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
We're getting to know it. We're getting to know it. Johnny and 2 cats. But yeah, good luck with Bifrost and the way things are going. Transitioning into the late game. A lot of questions. I hope you get the answers for those one. But you're looking good. So Bifrost is looking good at the top of the standing. So thank you so much for the interview.
Thanks for this talk. Like, happy to meet you, and have a nice evening.
Thank you so much.
See ya.
Have a nice one.
That doggo was adorable.
Yeah, I saw the doggo
He like peeked his head.
But more questions than answers right now for Bifrost.
I think it's the case with every team, honestly, in this match. Even the teams that are like winning right now, they're like, what the heck is just going on?
We won. How?
How though?
We won. That's the answer, I would say, right now.
Yeah.
What about Dusty, Low? We do have an interview for Dusty. We're setting it up. Dusty looked good during this game, but they couldn't close it up. They couldn't find a specific lead to take Bifrost down.
I felt like they took a bunch of leads, and then Audi got to press his button once this game, and it was absolute disaster. I think, like Jamada mentioned earlier, they were able to spot him out previously from every single fight and take him out.
Yeah, it felt like a bit of a solo queue game in that sense, where you play against something like a Twitch or a Cogbor, and they just don't get to do anything the entire game.
But once?
But once, the game swings, and in this case, it swung so hard that unfortunately Dusty lost the game off the back of it. Yeah, I mean, I still hold true to it. I feel like they had the easy to execute draft. I think the scaling was okay. But again, it's just one of those things. Yumi, Twitch.
I just want to reiterate the fun that we had, because we're sitting in the green room right at the Elder fight, and our producer suddenly busts through the door. He's like, 1 minute. We're like, what? What happened? But Dusty, we're winning. What happened?
It's the unfortunate nature of League of Legends sometimes, even in 12-10. But I think I said this on Monday. Expect more games to be slow-paced for 30 to 35 minutes,
and then
one team fight happens, and that is the game. And I think we will see more of that as the meta evolves. But also, I think this composition just kind of is the embodiment of that kind of style of game.
Okay, on the interview, moving on to Dusty, we have a switcheroo, so I'm really excited to talk with him again. DenVoksne coming in from Dusty, the AD carry that played versus the Twitch. Again, I mean, it's not the best beginning for the interview. Obviously, I want to get you on the W side, but it was really close for you guys as well. And as Jamada is saying, it seems like games are going for 30 minutes with no action, and all of a sudden, a big team fight occurs. Do you believe in that statement?
Yeah, I think people need a little more practice. Like, first of all, we're a new team, so it's going to be harder to close our games. And then second of all, there's a new patch that just changed the whole game pretty much for, like, however we played it for like 2 years or whatever. So for sure, like, there's a big change in the, like, how the games are going to be played. And I think partly that's long team fights or like long games with short team fights.
Can you tell me something? Do you believe that this patch seems like a pre-season patch where people need some time to adapt and all that, and then you get the pro play, like the biggest patch we've ever seen so far, like lately?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a big change for everyone, and for at least for most teams, I think we are waiting for more data. So we're waiting for more matches for every ERL team. We're waiting for more LEC matches. We can see, you know, like just see what is being picked, what is even being played, like what is actually good, because it's really hard to figure it out on your own. And like this first week, you just have to like prepare something, figure out what you think is good, and then hopefully win on that. But if you maybe have the wrong read, like I think we had against 6-7, completely wrong read, and then we adapted it, and then okay, it wasn't good enough, we didn't play well enough, then for sure it's going to be hard to get those wins. But I think after a while, like after a couple of weeks, maybe I think for sure things are going to change, and you should see huge improvement for a lot of different teams. Like, yeah.
It seems really hard because we are the tip of the spear so far in terms of patch and the players. This is really complicated for them, but trouble.
Honestly, I feel like coming in as an AD carry DenVoksne and also having such a diverse pool, jumping from the Sorakas to the Kaisers to whatever you please you can play. First of all, I want to commend you because you always have such a winner mentality in you. You always come in thirsty, even when you don't win. You're saying, I'm here to win, I'm here to go, you must, I'm here to go as far as it goes, right? So this iteration of Dusty seems to be suiting a lot the way that you play and whatever you seem to want to play or whatever your team wants to play with you. So how do you feel like your role is adapting around the team, whether it's the Soraka or whether it's the hyper carry for you?
I think it's just like we want to be adaptable. Like I think that's something that you need to have nowadays, and maybe it's like something that a lot of teams struggle with, and I'm really happy with the fact that we can play like different champs. It feels like the biggest problem we have is figuring out which champs we actually want to play. So it's like, oh, we can play so many different styles, so which one do we actually commit to? And we need to figure out in which situations like we want to commit to the different stuff. So for example, this draft we picked the GP early, and I think that's a very viable strategy, but maybe there are other strategies that are also viable and that could have maybe been more efficient here. So I think to that part, it's like we have the reverse problem. We don't have one style, so we have to figure out which of the many different styles we want to play.
There's still a lot to take in for your team. And if I may, I want to get your point of view and like the pro point of view in positioning for the AD carry, because back in the day, it seemed like the AD carriers needed to have some sort of positioning where I need to be prepared for the team fight, I need to kill someone and survive. Now it doesn't seem like the case, because you have to get another sort of positioning, because you have to endure more during the fight, but you have to dish out more damage. So do you believe as an AD carry you're learning to play again the team fights, or is this something that it's not affecting you right now?
I think for sure everything changes on this patch. Like for the first time in a long time, I've tried running Umon Jinx before I kill someone with my Q, you know. And just in general, like how strong you are, how fast you can like start running forward and stuff like this, where before you would maybe run backwards for like 5 seconds or something, but now you have to be way more patient and wait for your opportunity, because people are just, they have more health, they're playing different champs, like it just everything changed. So for sure you have to learn how to team fight again. It's really hard to like calculate damage, because we've only had like maybe 2 weeks in solo queue and like 1 week in scrim. So for sure a lot has changed, and as AD carry position, like I think the role just changed completely with this new patch. So we'll just have to wait and see and figure things out.
Thank you so much for that input. That's something that I really had on my mind, and I needed the answer for that one. And also, you're looking good, you're looking crispy, man. Don't give up. That team has a lot to take in. So good luck on the next match.
Thank you.
Have a nice one. See ya.
I love.
He waved. He waved. He waved. You didn't wave, though.
We were